Shape agent credentials authenticated. Authorization granted. Playing audio file.
So, Division Field Agents. Those people with the glowing orange ring on their watches and on their shoulder. They're the ones out there fighting alongside the JTF, just trying to save what remains. You may have seen them around, even before the outbreak. They came from all walks of life, but a good majority of them were first responders. See, that's the kind of people the Division were looking for. People that are loyal, versatile, physically fit, and they have that self-sacrificing mindset that a lot of first responders tend to have. Those people that put community before themselves. But obviously the first responders weren't the only ones getting recruited. You also had military personnel, high school teachers, intelligence workers. Hell, your local yoga instructor might have been recruited. When the Strategic Homeland Division started taking a cut of the black budget and recruiting kicked up, the process became a little more refined. Once someone got identified as a potential recruit, Internal Affairs would start running background checks on them. Checking their financial records, medical and work history, and tracking them on social media. If their portfolio survived this process, then a senior agent would reach out and set up an interview. And this was a tricky process. See, it had to be done covertly. Most times the candidate in question couldn't even know what they were walking into. I sure as hell didn't. Recruiters couldn't announce themselves to the public. And they couldn't be direct with the candidate until they agreed. Had to maintain that air of secrecy, you know? No one could know the division existed except for those in the agency. If you were in, your family, your friends, your spouse, not even your fucking dog could know. But you'd have to show interest in service. No one was ever forced into it. So, once a candidate agreed to that, hey, you want to do some extremely vague first responder work for the government pitch? Then they'd move into pre-testing. These are mainly just psychological analysis, extensive interviews, cognitive tests, just some boring paperwork stuff. But those tests did their job. Filtered out a lot of people that wouldn't have been a good fit. So, after a recruit passed those little tests, then they'd actually start getting trained. It's not like the military, where you can just dip out of your life for a few months and go to boot camp. You still had to keep up appearances. So, every aspect of training had a cover. Combat training would be done at a local self-defense class. Physical training would be group workouts at a gym. Firearms courses would be taught at a local firing range, and all of these would be ran by an undercover agent. It would take about a year to get recruits fully trained up. And only then would they be told about the division's true purpose. And once they're officially made an agent, they'd be given a rugged black watch and be told to always wear it. And when the call came, the watch face lit up orange, and that meant it was time to go. Time to drop everything. Leave your life behind and get moving, because people need you. I suppose no one expected it to be easy to leave family like that. Especially when you couldn't even tell them why. A division agent is autonomous. There's no real chain of command like you'd expect. There's no real position of authority, but rather positions of guidance. Every division agent is able to make their own decisions, set their own priorities, and operate as they see fit. Division commanders and coordinators don't really have any power over other agents. They're just in positions of intelligence. They can give information, they can make suggestions, but as long as an agent adheres to the mission statement, the only person an agent answers to is the president. Should an agent go off mission? Well, there's a precedent for that. Now, even though there's no chain of command, division agents rarely operate alone. Usually they'd form themselves into groups known as cells. Now, cells are often very close-knit, turning into small, heavily armed, dysfunctional families. They'd eat together, work together, and they'd fight together. A cell of division agents is one of the most dangerous things you can come across, so I'd suggest you stay on their good side. And if you ever see any of those orange watches turn red, well, normally I suggest you run. But then you'll probably just die tired. See, autonomous power comes with a serious risk. That whole bit about division agents being above the law, that comes with a heavy stipulation. Any action taken must be in accordance with the mission. And if they're not, if an agent breaks away from their oath of service, then the Shade Network marks them as rogue. Those orange circles on their watch and their beacon turn bright red. That's a warning to other agents, and their connection to the network is severed. Sadly, agents have been growing rogue since New York City. Those first wave agents that went into the dark zone and never came back, sure, a good number of them were killed. Some did the killing. Don't think the second wave was squeaky clean either. They had to travel into the dark zone too, and that whole place was cut off from the Shade Network. Sure, you might get marked as rogue, but if you know what you're doing, you can remove the rogue marker, bringing you back to agent status before returning to base. There's too many rumors of agents going rogue and coming back for them all to be made up. There's bound to be a nugget of truth to those stories. So, if you're out there, watch your back. You never know who might put a blade in it. Now, Aaron Keener was the first, from what I can tell. There might have been one or two before him, but Keener became the face of the rogues. He started down a path that a lot of agents followed. Now here we are, long after the division killed him at Liberty Island. And we are still dealing with the effects of the bullshit he started.